The Denver Broncos on Wednesday chose Vic Fangio as the 17th head coach in franchise history. Fangio, formerly the Chicago Bears defensive coordinator, beat out fellow frontrunner Mike Munchak and three other candidates, former Colts coach Chuck Pagano, Rams quarterbacks coach Zac Taylor, Patriots DC Brian Flores, for the right to replace Vance Joseph. Of the 5 interviewees, Fangio was the most desired by Broncos fans, simply because he's a specialized coach, unlike Munchak, and brings bona fide experience, unlike Taylor and Flores. His reputation also made him a slam dunk over Pagano, whose buzz has disappeared, if it were ever existent. What's next for the Denver Broncos? Don't miss out on any news or analysis. Take a second to sign up for our free Broncos newsletter, delivered 3 times daily. An admittedly small sample size brought mixed bag reactions. Some loved it, others hated it, a few were cautiously optimistic or skeptically reserved. Typically, really, when a new head man comes to town following 3 mostly brutal playoff-less seasons. Scroll through below to check the pulse of Broncos country as the Fangio era begins. Well, seems like Elway wants another guy who will do what he say, and the defense still looks like the better side. Hopefully Fangio will find our next great MLB relay on the D, while try Keenum with new OC and find the next QB. George F. at Cucaro, January 9, 2019. Some presumed that John Elway hired Vance Joseph simply as a puppet, through which he could essentially run the team. Joseph's floundering did nothing to quell that theory. Fangio, though, is cut from a much different cloth. He's the type to push back, even against Elway, and there's no mistaking where you stand with him. Elway might have picked Fangio, but not as a patsy. Happy John. Pic.twitter.com/whiteingage4elto, Cody T, at C_time_13, January 9, 2019. Fangio fits to ATL's criteria for an ideal head coach. I want them to be great on one side of the ball and great at what they do, whatever that position that may be, whether it be a coordinator or whatever they've done. I look for greatness on that side. For me, I look for experience. I want the guys that understand the game, they understand X's and O's but also have the ability to lead men. He'll improve an underachieving defense, that's for sure. Henny Blankenship, at BOV1C, January 9, 2019. In the simplest terms, Fangio will undoubtedly squeeze more out of the Broncos than Vance Joseph did. And his top-flight instruction means Von Miller and Bradley Chubb don't have to worry about dropping into coverage, among other in-game gaffes committed by the previous regime. Honestly wasn't too thrilled with any of the options, and we have no idea what Fangio the HC is like. I'm not confident bringing QB back is going to push the offense forward. That said, I don't hate it, I'm just meh. I guess we'll see when the games are played. Ryan Hess, at Ryan Hess, January 9, 2019. This is a reasonable take. Fangio has no head coaching experience and never seemed interested in making that leap, so it's not exactly a sure thing he blossoms into the leader of men are praying he is. Kubiak brings back his, relatively speaking, archaic scheme as Denver fails to evolve with a cutting-edge play caller. These are valid concerns, making it perfectly acceptable to be in wait-and-see mode regarding the hire. I have no complaints. Guy's very experienced and the Bears players loved him, which means he's well respected with his players. Ronald Newman, at Ronald Newman's 2, January 9, 2019. Fangio was referred to as the Godfather in Chicago and was absolutely beloved by his players. Said Bears defensive lineman Akiem Hicks, he deserves to be a candidate for any team that needs a head coach. I have a lot of respect for him. So does the entire defense. I don't even want to think about the possibility of him ever leaving, so I'm going to pretend like nothing's going on. I'm happy with Fangio, but the first words with Cube says OC doesn't spell evolving, it's more like going from DSL back to dial-up. Is John that insecure he can't part with him cronies? Did John secretly get neutered recently? I still love the Broncos, just bummed about not evolving. Paul, at Paul80026, January 9, 2019. Interesting analogy to contrast Gary Kubiak's archaic offensive scheme with the cutting-edge product of the Rams, Eagles, Bears, and so on. General Manager John Elway indeed seems intent on preserving the past, which entails forcing old pal Kubiak on the new head coach. Should keep the defense very competitive, which is needed in a division with Patrick Mahomes. Joe Randall, at JoeRandall11, January 9, 2019. Regardless of who the Broncos chose, the simple fact remains that Mahomes will be a thorn in the side for the next decade, if not longer. They needed either a defense capable of stopping him or an offense equipped to match his output. The Broncos are banking on the former with Fangio. I feel like we will never have a real head coach until John Elway gives up some responsibility. Decision-making. Denver Dado, at Dad with Internet, January 9, 2019. The bloom is off the rose for Elway, who's facing more criticism than ever following the Broncos' second consecutive losing season, the first time that's happened since 1972. He can scapegoat those around him, but the fact remains that Broncos country is holding the Duke to a standard he's falling well short of. He's hoping the Fangio hire restores his reputation to its legendary tier. The no-nonsense and no-BS attitude that Fangio has is exactly what the Denver Broncos need. Dom Leonardo, at Leonardo, January 9, 2019. This is exactly what the Broncos needed after the hapless ways of Vance Joseph. Fangio is known as a take-no-you-know-what authority who rubs some the wrong way with his prickly personality. From the group of 5 candidates, he was the strongest option to whip this underachieving bunch into shape.